Hey everybody, Coach Justin, TeamRealFitness.com. Wanted to take a minute today to talk a little bit about how to track your nutrition. I spent a lot of time talking about how important it is to do it. It's also important to know how to do it accurately so you'll get the results you're looking for. So what you have in front of you are the tools of the trade, if you will. We have our measuring spoons, both English and metric. Our measuring cups, both sides. Most importantly, our food scale, as well as our cups for measuring liquids. Now let's take a closer look at each of these items. Okay, most important out of all your items is the food scale. This is an absolute must-have. You can pick one up for about 10, 15 bucks. I think I got this one for like $11 at Walmart. And there's a couple features you want to make sure that it has. And if you'll notice here, we have our on button, tare, which we'll get to in a second, and then unit, and unit of measure. So if you notice right now it's set on ounces, but I can also measure in kilograms, pounds, and grams as well. That comes in handy as you look through MyFitnessPal or any of the other food tracking apps. You'll notice things aren't always done in ounces, or sometimes they, say cups, or anyway, this allows you with the one scale to be able to measure in very different items. The ounces is the most common, the one I use the most. Tare, this button's really important. What this does is allows you to reset the counter to 0 when you are measuring your food. So as I put this bowl on top here, the scale is going to register the weight of the bowl. Obviously, if I'm trying to figure out exactly how much food I'm putting in the bowl, I don't want to have to subtract or add or do any of that. But if I hit the tare button, it goes back to 0. And now, as I add, in this case, Greek yogurt, usually 8 ounces for me, the scale will calculate the weight of what's going in the bowl and not the bowl itself. So once I get to 8 ounces, I now know that I'm getting exactly the serving that I want. We have our measuring spoons. We have first our English measure, 1/8 of a teaspoon, 1/4 teaspoon, 1/2 teaspoon, teaspoon. Then we have our metric, which, as you can see there, is measured in milliliters. Not much use for those if you're in the States, but if you're abroad, maybe you're in Europe, or then that would probably be something that you'd want to pick up. Again, those are useful as each unit of measure is laid out for you, so whatever the recipe calls for, whatever you're trying to track, you can get it exactly to what's listed. Next, we have our measuring cups. These are used for mostly dry measure. The yellow cups here have just the unit of measure that's listed on the cup. Picked these up a couple years ago. I actually like these. They not only have the unit of measure for the cup, but in the handle you can see there's a little bit of a spoon, and so with each, so here's 1/4 of a cup, and then you have 1/4 teaspoon on the other end, 1/3 of a cup, 1/2 a teaspoon, 1/2 a cup with a teaspoon, then the full cup has the tablespoon on it. That's useful as a kind of a 2-in-1. So if you could find those, it helps make it a little bit easier. You have everything all in one to take care of all of your measuring. Next, we have our measuring cups that we use primarily for liquid measuring. If you'll notice on both of them, you have the opportunity to measure by cup, ounces, or milliliters. Same markings. The other one, cups, ounces, then milliliters on the other side. The smaller cup is good for most of your needs. I like to have the larger one for any of the bulk cooking. Usually if I'm making something in my slow cooker, I'll use the larger cup to measure out the liquids, the chicken broth, water, whatever it is that happens to be going into the pot. So it's good to have them of varying sizes to take care of your needs, and you don't have to constantly refill the smaller cup, maybe forget how many times you filled it and what you're putting into your food. Another really important step when you're tracking your nutrition is you absolutely positively have to read the labels. Here we have a 7-ounce can of tuna, and as we look at the back and see the nutrition facts, we get all the information we want: calories, fat, protein, carbs, all good, useful information. But most important to notice is the numbers listed are for a single serving. So for every one serving, there's 50 calories, half a gram of fat, no carbs, and 11 grams of protein. But if you notice under the nutrition facts for the serving size, for this one can of tuna, it indicates there's approximately 3 servings from these nutritional values. So that means that every number there, if you eat this entire can, has to be multiplied by 3. So this one can of tuna would have 150 total calories, 1.5 grams of fat, and approximately 33 grams of protein. That becomes very important. A lot of manufacturers, especially foods that are not particularly healthy, will list the serving nutrition facts for a single serving size. Like a bag of chips is a really common one, and it might be only 120, maybe 150 calories, 18 or 20 carbs, and maybe 3 or 4 grams of fat, 2 or 3 grams of protein. But that one bag of chips will often have 3 or 4 servings. So instead of that, 150 calories, if you eat that whole bag, you're actually looking at closer to 450 to 500 calories. So it's very important to make sure you read the labels, measure, 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 and track. Hope you find this information useful, and we'll see you in the next video.